a 1-inch pipe going into a 2-inch pipe going into a 3-inch pipe, and a layer of rock wool in between. But it loses most of its heat before it gets there anyway, so it's complete overkill. So I've been running these heaters for, oh hell, at least 7 years now. That one in the basement is 7 years old, and I've rebuilt it like 3 times. These things are extremely reliable. Well, no, wait. I'm gonna take that back. They're extremely unreliable until you put good bearings in them. If you get the ceramic hybrid bearings, it's for like the little brushless racing motors for RC cars and stuff. They're rated at 20,000 RPMs. They're pretty indestructible. I haven't swapped that one out yet. I just now took it apart and re-oiled the bearings. The one in the basement actually needs new bearings because they're the factory ones. But everything else, all the other ones, I swapped the bearings out in them. But yeah, I'm waiting on new ones to get here because they take forever to get here. But you want to make sure they're made in Japan or America, not China, not Taiwan, not any place else. Buy good ones. But yeah, once you put decent bearings in these things, they'll freaking last forever, and they just run non-stop without complaining. I got this one running into a copper pipe trying to suck some extra heat off of it, and I got that similar to the basement. It runs through a bigger pipe that's stuffed with rock wool, and I mean it's never hot. You can grab this thing with your bare hands, and it's not even warm to the touch. So now this heat sink, these first two, you don't want to touch them a whole lot. This one right here is, you can put your hand on it for a minute, wouldn't bother you. The last two are pretty cold. It loses a lot of heat right there, right where that fan's blowing on it. But yeah, these things are pretty awesome. I've been seeing a lot of videos. There's a rat in my garage too, yeah I know. Seeing a lot of videos on these little heaters. Figured I'd share with you guys my little setups, because got one in the basement, got one out here, I got one on the bulldozer at work, I got one in my 4-wheel drive out there. And yeah, they're pretty good little units once you dial them in and get them working right. There is like a secret code you can punch in on this thing to where you can adjust the air-fuel ratio and everything else. It's a lot easier on the other controllers, it's just faster. But yeah, 1688 seems to be the standard codes for all of these. And you can go through, set the minimum pulse rate, the maximum pulse rate, which I got this thing kind of whipped way down. Minimum fan speed, maximum fan speed, 12 volts to 24 volts. I have no idea what that is. Don't know what that is, I've never messed with it. But yeah, I know the fan speed and the fuel pump speed, and I can get these things dialed in pretty good to where they burn, you know, perfectly clean, and they don't make a bunch of soot. It's actually a little bit gray in the exhaust. There's no soot at all, no black. This one doesn't want to run right. It never has. I've messed with this one a whole bunch, had it apart a bunch of different times, and sometimes you get a good burner and sometimes you don't. Sometimes they're just junk. And I'm actually going to be switching, not the burn chamber, but just the little burner. It's got the glow plug thread into it, and it's got the little swirl chamber, and well, I mean, it's got a tube on it. There's nothing there. But yeah, sometimes them just don't quite burn right, and you'll have one that runs funny. So I got a bunch of these because I went through a lot of them really quickly because the bearings kept failing, and they're cheap heat and they last forever. Yeah, you put good bearings in, like I said, they last forever. So I got a bunch of spare parts now. Because there wasn't nothing wrong with the last ones. I just replaced them for nothing. They just needed bearings. I did screw up one, running it off of used motor oil. I'll show you what that looks like real quick. Show you why not to do that. These things do not like burning anything but diesel fuel, really. They like to have a real nice clean fuel in them. Somebody's gonna have themselves a nice spicy motor. This is what happens when you burn used oil in them. They burn good. They burn a little hot, just a little bit, and then they melt down, and all the burn chamber and the aluminum starts coming out the exhaust. So yeah, don't burn used oil in them. cold out here. That's not smoke, that's just condensation. This thing doesn't get hot at all. None of this gets hot. Need to put a seal around that. I need just a little bit more rock wool, but yeah, like I said, that's the reason you see steam coming out, is because it's so cold. It's just kind of lukewarm air. Chilly out here tonight.